So, when we last left off, there was a lot of things happening. But before we get into that, I'd like to point everybody's attention to your handouts tab. You should have an experience handout now at the top of the tab if anyone would like to spend any of their experience. Doesn't have to be now, or you may have already spent some. I believe, Longy, you spent some experience last time.
We talked about doing it, but you said to hang fire for the start of the session. So.
Oh, okay. So yeah. What was it you were thinking, or if anything else?
It would just renown at the moment because of all the stuff that's been happening. So it were to put a point in honour, basically, because of all the stuff I've been doing to kind of protect the pack and things like that.
Sure. So I like that, and that I think will start a little bit of our role play here in a minute, but go ahead and throw that in for now. That's fine. And like I said, if anybody else wants to put anything in, try and at some point, if you're thinking about it, work in some discussion or bring up in game, like why or how, particularly if you're wanting to increase your renown. That's going to take a little bit of role play, or if you want to select a new gift, which I don't know that anybody has enough experience for yet. You might, but gifts have to be learned from spirits, so we'll have to set that up as a thing. So Longy, your renown gain we can definitely set up here in the beginning, but if anybody else is thinking anything else, let me know. We will see where we're putting it in. But you all have access to that handout now whenever you'd like to look at it. And of course you have your experience totals. When you do end up spending experience, I'm not really concerned in this particular chronicle about tracking total experience spent. So when you spend your experience, just remove it from your experience bar. And then, when you gain more, you'll gain more. I know some storytellers like to track how much you've actually spent. Sense of power. That doesn't bother me at all. So.
I think I'm just going to keep track of mine on my, my manual character sheet that I've got.
Sure. That's fine.
I'm just going to do it on that as well, I think.
Total spent? Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. So when we last left off, to give everybody a brief rehash, some interesting things had happened. So our pack had set out for the place where the Horticultural Club had been spending time, Development Coast West, in the Fremont Experimental Forest area that is currently under ownership of a corporation named Endro. But the area that they were focused in on was basically under the supervision of this horticultural club, currently primarily actually under the supervision of one Ricard Muller, who somehow gained control of the responsibility of taking care of this area from a Birgit Van Gelder, who previously was the person of note. But Ricard Muller and several people had been for months taking care of this area, and then a couple of people went missing. Our pack went to learned of the Horticultural Club, that the missing people were involved in, went to check things out, and found some of those. And last session, they returned to the area, I believe with the intent of possibly engaging in some mystical aspects of being aware, crossing over the gauntlet and checking out the spirit world in the area and see if they can do some investigation there. Unfortunately, they found the place infested with local authorities as the police had finally become aware. And then the strange thing happened. Bessa was taken. Fenton, when Lenexia stepped away for a moment to look for a good place to hunker down and wait for the police to disappear. And our group set off, at least the ones remaining, set off after him and engaged in a wolf and truck chase. You can't really call it a car chase. Although 2 vehicles were involved later, as Ze'ev showed up at the nick of time to stop the escaping people.
At the cost of a senseless waste of technology.
A senseless waste, an intentional destruction of technology. In fact, which brings us to the point that Jake Ze'ev only recovers 1 point of willpower this session.
Correct.
Regardless of how much he had spent. Everyone else recovers either the higher of their composure or their resolve. So if you're down any willpower, make sure.
I done mine last session because I'm up to 3 and I was on 0.
Gotcha. So, after I thought I had quite a cinematic scene of a giant wolf and a massive werewolf beast chasing this truck up a mountain road until it T-boned the old Jeep that Jake had borrowed from the missing person. They ended up recovering Fenton and utterly destroying the passenger of the white truck. It was a young woman who Lenexia identified with clever use of her gift as someone who is a kinfolk related to werewolves, but also possessed by a foul worm-like spirit that extricated itself from her corpse as Aaron beheaded her, I believe. And the spirit then crawled out of her neck stump to be discovered by Lenexia, who was perceiving the other side at that moment, who then very swiftly destroyed the spirit as well. They recovered Fenton's wolf form, which was unconscious in the rear of the truck, and they left the scene. It's also important to note, just so everyone recalls, there were gunshots fired, and gunshots travel a long way, and there were police in the area. However, you all found a vehicle, which you then took and returned to your safe house. In the return trip, I would say you probably did see what is probably a small detachment of police coming to check out the scene, so they're probably going to find the scene of the 2 vehicles destroyed and just utterly kind of molded into one thing. And they're also going to find the corpse of that woman who looks like she's been torn apart by an animal. So that's where we stand. Having returned to your safe house, Fenton will eventually awaken, unless anybody wants to try to speed that along, which is easily enough done. If any of you have any medicine, you can use possibly some herbal remedies in Lenexia's case, or maybe you have a medical kit on hand with some smelling salts to wake
How about
up.
a strong backhand?
Or strong backhand, that might do it. And yeah, Fenton, you awaken groggily. You feel weary, which is odd for you. You don't know that you've felt this way since you had your first change. So whatever was used to incapacitate you was particularly potent. And you don't recall. The last thing you recall is being in Vindsvept, standing on the outskirts of the ritual site, looking at the police kind of doing their things.
Okay, so what I'm understanding here is some woman kidnapped me or abducted me. Which could have been, I mean, for a date, and you guys decided to kill her and crash the truck. I mean, that's some hardcore intervention, man. But
it got me a point of honour, so it's all good.
That could have been Fenton's first date in like a year. We don't know. I mean, the man's out here trying, he's a single guy. Come on.
If you'll recall, though, it wasn't just a woman. There was also a man who was driving the truck who...
Sure.
Now you're just getting him excited. Exactly.
I'm not picky. Who hasn't been there, right?
I do want to point out that Zev left the man unattended after having seen him fly through the windshield, assuming he was dead. And when you went round the wrecks to look, he was gone.
Well, now I'm focused on this single guy because I'm incredibly jealous of him.
The second date still possible there, Beza?
I mean, yeah. And there was a spirit in there, so it's kind of... It's a bit more than...
That's how I like them. I like them with spirit in them.
Also, it is important to point out that you did pull the identification, or at least present enough of mind to that, and the woman, she had ID on her. So it's... But it's probably, I would say at this point, you guys left in the morning. That scene happened pretty quickly, and you got out of there pretty quickly. So it's probably still mid to late morning, realistically.
So, guys, what do we want to destroy with our afternoon?
Evidence.
That's always good. I mean, we need to figure out who these people were. Why? I mean, obviously, well, the spirits. I don't understand why they were trying to take Fenton, and because
I can't figure out why we tried to save him.
All right, Dick.
Wow.
Jesus.
Right.
It's supposed to be on my side.
Right. Oh, that's right.
Who's in the leg, man?
Yeah.
Starsky and Hutch. We've been... God, jeez.
So, Fenton, what is the last thing that you actually remember before you were taken? Did you hear anything in the car or talking? How many were there?
What car? Whose car? No recollection of a car. When was I in a car?
Truck.
You know what?
Where are we?
I'll let you hang on. I'll let Fenton, if you want to just play utterly confused, you can. But you are a werewolf, and you are somewhat connected to the spirit realm as well. I will give you an awareness, wits and awareness test to see if you picked up anything, even in your incapacitated state.
Right we are. Jesus, what the hell is my wits and awareness?
Fenton, don't worry. You're back at the unsafe house with us.
People better not follow us here. Swear to God, a few people have led people to our safe house.
Jake just giving me ideas.
Stop giving me ideas, damn it. Right, where am I now? Oh, God, where are my numbers now? Where's all my... It's been too long. I've forgotten everything. Do I click on my face to see my stats and stuff? And it wants to load. What did we say? Wits and awareness?
Wits and awareness, yes.
Wits and awareness. Wits 3. That's good.
Rage.
Where's awareness? Where is awareness on this list? Awareness 1. Okay. So 4 in total. I've got rage 1. So
3 green, 1 red.
2, 3. Okay, 2 successes on the green.
Right.
Just the fang symbol on there.
Only 1, so that's fine.
Oh yeah, 1's fine, isn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So, with 2 successes, what's interesting is you recall almost in a dream state, although you've been in the Umbra. So strangely, as your body was incapacitated, you somehow, maybe it's an effect of whatever drug they used, maybe it's just your nature, you kind of shifted a little bit into the Umbra. And so you remember seeing the 2 people in the truck, and quote say for the sake of memory, lifted you and carried you to this truck, seemingly without issue. You're not, a small wolf. None of you. Even ones that appear more as dogs and wolves and still creatures. You apparently have no trouble. And you remember hearing kind of mumbled voices, kind of like you just can't make out what they were saying in the physical realm. But you remember with kind of double vision seeing these worm-headed crimson spirit things kind of intertwining and inhabiting and within these people. And they were also communicating with each other. Level. Remember them saying something. Interlopers. It's not theirs. Shouldn't be here. Something along those.
Okay.
It's very unclear. Again, but you feel like it's a real memory. You don't think you were just.
Okay. All right. So I'll, in a groggy state, I'll explain that to the group. Ask for a stiff drink, something strong, just to bring me around.
Are you angry that someone had abducted you?
Yeah, I think I'd be fairly pissed, to be honest.
Okay, well, why don't you give yourself a point of rage to burn off that grogginess?
Oh. Is that good or bad?
Rage is always good.
I mean, rage can be good. It can also be bad.
As long as we're not smashing up on the table, we can't.
You're only at 2. You're fine. Can't afford the trips to IKEA.
I'm down to 1. I've had my Duracell batteries pulled out.
You've just crashed a car, all right? You can settle down for a minute.
Yeah. So, like, Aaron's just sort of like quietly observing all thinking getting back on his feet, Fenton getting back on his feet, and then just sort of stands up and looks around and says, looks out the window and says, I think we've got 2 problems here. One is they now know about us. Whatever we're dealing with here, they now know about us. One of them's got away, and this is going to escalate. The other problem we've got is that the police are in the thick of this, and we've left some pretty hefty lumps of evidence out there. Now, I think the first issue is a point of discussion, and I'm not sure. I think the more spiritually minded here are the ones to best lead on that. But the second one, I think we need to do something about that sooner rather than later. And I propose to perform a rite to help deal with that problem. Would you be willing to help me with that rite? Please,
all right.
my pack. All right.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great idea. We need to cover what we've seen, especially now we don't need the police trying to get up and involved in this. Well, for us anyway. But yeah, definitely.
Maybe there's a way to actually lead the police to the correct conclusions, or at least
an option.
Finding fault. I mean, if they're pretty active, and we know police are lazy in general, so if we're able to manipulate clues and place them for them at places that's easy to find, they will have no problem.
Well, in essence,
value.
In essence, thinking about it, the performance of this particular rite might actually help with that anyway, because it'll obscure our tracks but not theirs. It'll obscure routes to us but not them. So if the rite is successful, and there's no guarantees that it will be, these spirits are very yes, they do what they want to do.
Know that there are also spirits on their side as well.
Indeed.
Yes.
But if we were to get the favour of the spirits in this instance, then manipulation of the police would be easier, I would think, as I have.
I'll get the incense.
So how does your rite work?
Mechanically.
Narratively, I know how it works.
Narratively, yeah. Okay, so
what do you need? What are you telling your pack mates to do?
Well, if we are ready to perform it,
a knife and a young kid, meaning a goat, baby goat.
If we are ready to perform it now, the main thing is that we will need to. I think we need to be in one of our other forms to do this. You can't do it in human form. That's correct, isn't it? So
the rite has to be done in the supernatural.
Yeah. So one particular problem with that is I'm only on one rage at the moment. So, which
the other particular problem is, would you agree?
Like I said, I got the kid here. I got the knife. Is that not good enough?
No.
All right. How about?
It is not an absolute requirement for you to take part as a hef, but it would be helpful. And
I could help.
I would remind you that I would remind you that you are a part of this pack, for better or worse.
And it might be worth getting used to it, because I also think we should do a rite of kinship.
All right, I'm checking my calendar. There's no blood moon out. It's not really the right time for me to change.
So from a role-playing standpoint, let me ask you this, Jake. What do you think? Assuming you want to help, right? I'm not going to force you to, but also that you want it to be interesting. What do you think they need to do to get you to the point where you are amenable enough to at least take Glabro form, right? Do they need to get you drunk? Do you think they need to upset you until you take that form, which could be interesting, like just kind of egg you on until you shift?
I need to be bullied into it, forced into it, angered into it. They're going to learn what triggers it from me, and I'm not going to make it easy on them.
I've been pushing some of them buttons already, I'm pretty sure.
Exactly. It's going to get to the point where, it's got to straddle the line between me, leaving the pact because of the actions that they take against me to get me to change.
Oh, wow.
A meta standpoint.
Sure.
Yep.
They are going to have to do things that will bother their conscience just as much as it bothers mine.
Fair enough.
And that's my big FU back for trying to do it.
I mean, so as long as everybody is fine with the role-playing of that, I'm fine with it. I think it's great. Being so scared of what you are, which is what I'm getting. Not that that's a bad thing, right? I understand that mindset.
This pack stuff, the biggest problem that I had were underage girls liking my history lessons too much.
Right. Yeah, this is a different world for you. So yeah, I mean, as long as everybody is into the role play, I don't mind you guys being abusive, and I think Jake is saying he doesn't mind you being abusive to force them to change.
I'm
Jake, the player.
To be fair, Jake, I'm dead on board with what you're trying to do. It's spot on, mate. Spot on. No issues at all. So Aaron will just sort of like
to enjoy it as much as you appear to be enjoying it.
I'm enjoying it. I think it's great.
So Aaron just sort of like looks around a little bit and then thinks, actually, I think this rite has much more chance of being successful if we do it tonight. The spirits will be more active, they'll be more receptive, they'll be more pliant, and it gives us an opportunity to be closer to Gaia at the same time. So I'll hand over to you, Zeheb, Benton,
and you can
on your practical
another point of range.
I agree.
Yeah. I think in terms of your practical ideas, I think maybe the daytime is the time for that, and then the night time is a time for Lenexia and myself to maybe think about what we can do spiritually to assist. Is my thoughts.
I agree. In fact, I'm going to go back to my apartment to get my my special cloak, which I use for transformations. I'll be back, guys. It'll take me about an hour or so, but I'll be back. I have to prepare for the ritual and get my.
I'll just knock a cup off the table so it smashes. And shake my head, and just stare into the corner.
Well.
All right, so I'll also remind everyone that your initial reason for going to the Development Coast West was to do another ritual to cross into the Umbra. Now, to be fair, everybody doesn't need to, it's possible, depending upon, skills and points, that you can achieve some of these rituals without Zev. And if that's how you want to play it, it's fine. It's intense.
I'm keen to join it, just not as the player.
That's my thoughts are that's where it's going to go, and if it fails, that's where the anger's going to start ramping up.
Yeah. which is great.
Yeah.
So yeah, did you want to take that time while he's gone? Like I said in the past, I would imagine. Have a scene for it that you guys have a kind of a clearing, an area near your safe house. And
no, I want everybody to be clear. My excuse of leaving is so I don't have to come back and be a part of the ritual.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You caught that. Okay, good.
I got that. So before.
That's why I just went.
Yeah. Yep. So before Seev leaves, Fenton is going to stand up, swing round, and launch the glass in his hand just past Seev's head, so it smashes against the wall next to him before he leaves. And I am going to almost run at Seev till I am face to face with him. I'm going to loom over him, and what I want to use, if possible, is my Gaia's candor in order to ask him a question and hopefully scare the living fucking shit out of him.
Yeah, so I mean, Gaia's candor can be used against anyone. What does he get to resist with?
Good question.
Composure and subterfuge is his resistance pool, and you're on charisma plus glory.
Yeah.
So that was composure and what?
Subterfuge to resist.
Now again, you can both spend willpower to re-roll. Remember, spending willpower to re-roll up to 3 dice, regardless of what they initially were. So
Apart from rage dice, I think. Can you re-roll rage dice?
I believe you can re-roll rage dice.
All right, okay, fair enough.
Just not brutals.
Not brutals, sorry, not brutals.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant. That's what I meant. Sorry, brutal result.
Brutal result, you can't.
Yeah.
Everything is. So,
Okay, so I'm rolling charisma and glory. Is it 3?
And what do I need to roll to resist?
Composure and subterfuge. Now, you do roll your rage dice with this, as with everything.
Yeah.
And what's interesting, and remember that the rage dice replace green dice, right, Jake? So
Yeah.
But in this case, if Fenton rolls a brutal success, it will count, or a brutal, it will count as a success, not a failure. This is the kind of thing that rages.
Okay, so I have 5, which is fine.
So actually, only 1 success from Fenton. You want to re-roll that green? Well, you can wait to see what Jake rolls.
Oh, I was gonna say, do I wait? Okay.
So, go ahead.
If he's allowed to, fine.
Both get to see the results before you decide on willpower.
Okay.
Hey, man, just relax. That's why I don't buy glasses. I metal mugs. It's better. And if you're trying to hit somebody with it, it hurts more too.
So
calm down. What are you,
Nice.
a human or an animal? Don't answer that.
So unfortunately, re-rolling won't help Fenton in this case because you'd only be able to match Jake, in which case he'd win as the defender.
Yeah.
But you can still ask the question. Go ahead and ask the question. It just won't have
it costs you a rage check as well, Ian, that.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and roll your rage check. Thank you.
What do I need to do for that one? Just
roll one of the black dice.
Yeah.
One of the black dice. All right.
It's almost like you don't need a GM to present you with challenges when you have me in your party as a player.
Okay, so you keep your rage. It doesn't go down. But ask your question.
Okay. So, literally face to face with him, looming over him. Tell me now, Zev, are you part of this group or against us? For if you are against us, you will not be allowed to leave.
But that's the whole problem. Everything is so black and white with you guys. It doesn't stand like that. It doesn't mean like that. You don't know what I've sacrificed for this pack so far. You don't know what it is to be. You know exactly what it is. How could you embrace this? Your animalistic self. You're out of control. Look at you now. We're friends. Starsky and Hutch. Like you mentioned, we've been together and doing things together. I've helped this pack more than I've hurt this pack. Now you want me to gratuitously turn into something that I could lose control? Do you know what happens to me when I turn into that state? Do you know what happens to me after? This is not normal. If we're gonna live in this world, we have to try to be more a part of this world. And if we have to fight against evils in it, we have to find ways to do it without turning into those things that cause other people to it's not normal.
And sometimes being part of this world means doing things that you don't agree with for the greater good.
Oh, I've done that already. 2 beautiful cars are no longer in existence because of my actions. The spirits are angry with me. Now, I'm going to get into that state now where I can be closer to them. You got to find another way.
We have to do what is required. People are dead. Innocent people are dead.
They were dead before we even started this investigation.
And
we should do nothing?
If those people that caused those deaths were to have thought like me in the first place, they wouldn't have committed those murders. Don't you see? It's what we are that causes us to be like that. That we are razor thin on the edge of turning into the same people that did those dastardly deeds.
We get to decide.
And you want to turn that way in the name of fighting that?
By our actions, we make who we are. We don't have to be the bad guys, but we can fix this, and you're going to help if you're part of this pack.
I think this would be a good point for Longy to be more like step up and talk about that honor that you're willing to introduce, right? Explain what the wolf enabled you to just do, even if Zaeb didn't see it.
Yeah, so I'll stand up and sort of take a step towards, but not too close. And I will actually look at Lenexia as I do this as well, as though I sort of wanted to get involved. And I don't understand where you're coming from here, Zev. What we are this for a reason. We were always destined to become this. We are defenders of these innocent people. We are defenders of people that can't look after themselves. More importantly, we're defenders of Gaia and this planet against these evil creatures. We're nothing like them. And if we haven't got each other, what have we got? Right now, what have we got? It's us four. We've got some connections. There's some kinfolk that are kind of looking out for us, but ultimately they've got their problems. The world's going on without us. We are here looking after each other.
Guys,
and by having these small victories, this is how we earn the right to exist in this form as we are. And we earn the right to run as a pack. How can you not understand that? How can you not understand that?
This world is dying. Anything that we do is only delaying the inevitable. And I'm not even sure that we're delaying it. We might even be accelerating it at this pace that we're going. The police, they seem to be on top of it. There's a lot of clues here. They've gone to the right places. They found the right thing. You doing some sort of ritual and us howling at the moon and baying at God knows what. That's not gonna change anything for the better. That's just gonna change us for the worse.
So, are you okay with more like if another one of us was taken by these kinfolk, these kin that are possessed by spirits of the Umbra? What if you were taken? You don't know. We don't know. I mean, they took Fenton while. Which form was Fenton in? Was it? Was it his
Lupus form?
Oh, Lupus.
No, he was in Lupus.
Okay.
The one that found me, the one that helped me realize what I am, he warned me of this. You've been taken by the Hauglosk. You have no hope. You have no faith. You're going to bring this pack down. If you continue down this line, you will bring this pack down low. And I, for one, won't allow that.
Yeah? What are you going to do to stop me?
Well, continue with this line, and we will have to find out. Yeah, and I'll just sort of, at that point, my sort of rage is sort of fading a little bit, and I'm starting to feel a little bit more hopeless at this point. And I'll just sort of take a couple of steps back and slump back into a chair and just shake my head.
Look, Zeb, do you not want to do insert friend name justice? You found
Jessica.
Jessica.
Yeah.
You found her son, and he did, like, you saw this person's house, or whoever we think it is. We don't even know for sure. He's going to do it again, and we all know this. You saw what he did to those animals, and we saw what happened to those people. He took something away from that, and then Fenton was taken. Do you now think the next step is going to be he's going to be taking awakened kin? We can't let that happen. And if it means that we take the evidence away from us, we try and find fellow kin before it happens again, then we're the only ones that know this. We're the only ones that can actually help. I mean, there is no cavalry, so to speak of. We can't overtake the town to try and get this fixed. We don't even know if he's still in town.
Hope? This whole situation is hopeless. And I turn around, and I grab the door handle, I wrench it open, I take a couple of steps to go out, except I step on one of the shards of glass from the broken glass that was thrown towards my head. I slip, and I fall back towards the floor. My head comes down on the floor hard. My back has several shards of glass inside it from the glass that was broken. I shake my head. I open my eyes and I wake up, but I'm sitting in a car. My head smashed against this airbag that partially deployed. Might have been defective because I have also shards of metal in my face. I guess I didn't pay close enough attention to the recall notice that was given 6 months before. I turn to my side. I see somebody sitting beside me. He's not breathing. There is no airbag on that side. There's a big crack in the windshield. Blood all over the place. I try to shake myself. I hear somebody opening the door to the driver's side. I hear, "Oh man, I'm so sorry. Oh, I didn't see you. I don't know where you came from. I honestly don't know what happened." I smell a heavy odor of alcohol on the breath of the person that is talking to me. I black out again. And as that's all going through my head, I wake up in Glabro form in the unsafe house.
Nice.
Very nice.
I love now that you're calling it the unsafe house. It now makes sense to me. Because the house is unsafe
To be.
for Zev. Yeah. Because it's not where or what he wants to be. That's great.
What?
So he's ready. Even if he doesn't want to admit it.
I'll stand back up, looking a little bit shocked.
So at this point, I think Fenton would go over to him and try to lift him up, try and help him get off the floor, help him over to the sofa, try and check that he's okay.
Yeah, I mean, you notice as you help him up that any of the shards of glass that had remained in his head, or I mean, obviously it cut through his clothing as they got into the back. But just by shifting him to Glabro, such superficial damage is instantly recovered. Like the shards of glass are forced out by the regenerative capability of the minor scratches are already closing. It's possible to not be, super rageful in Glabro form. So like it, I don't know, I'm getting the feeling that you're kind of sullen at this point, Jake. Am I reading that right?
Oh, I'm absolutely enraged.
Oh, you're enraged now.
It's a blind rage. I have blind rage from the memory.
Well, how are you reacting to Fenton trying to help you up then?
I recognize people in this form, I'm sure.
Yeah. So you're not in a
You're not in kindness, yeah.
But you are angry. You're upset. So
yeah.
I think at this point, before we move further,
get on with it.
Yeah.
You know?
I want to do a couple of things. First, I want to give Jake a rage point for embodying that. Second, I want to do a couple of things based on the roleplay. I need, just based on the things that all of you said, I need Fenton and Zeev to make Hauglost rolls. And I need Aaron to make a Hirano roll. If you don't have a value in that trait on your tracker, you're just going to roll one die. If you succeed, you're fine. If you fail, you need to tick the box on Hauglost in the case of Jake and Fenton, or Hirano in the case of...
Okay.
I don't have anything in those.
I failed.
Okay, so you're just going to roll one die. So yeah, Jake, your Hauglost goes up by one. Doesn't matter which die. It's a pass or fail.
Right, yeah.
Oh no, Jake, you don't. I'm sorry.
No, it's Aaron. Yeah.
Aaron.
I failed.
So your Hirano goes up by one.
Yep.
And Fenton's Hauglost goes up by one.
Okay.
This is a great scene. The only reason I'm not having Lenexia roll there is because she was kind of the voice of reason. I felt that you were trying to
no
make
reason in any of this.
I'm trying to.
In fact, it's insane how reasonable she is.
Yeah, I'm trying to view it from like an actual pack point.
Sure. Well, and Zeev might not even really be able to process yet that, I mean, she's been a part of a pack her entire life. She was a wolf.
See, that's
I don't know that he even processes that, or if they know that.
No.
Okay.
I don't think that's something that she shares because she left the pack under such strange reasons. So
yeah, none of you even knows it. Like, no, being a wolf is not strange to her. So yeah, that's great. So yeah, I mean, Zeev is riled up and ready to go. You've got a place where you can go do some rituals. Do you want to knock those out? We're going to assume you tend to have everything you need to do these rituals, particularly at your stage. And
so yeah,
although you still might want to do the Shadow Path ritual at the site, which was your initial goal for the kin seeking and the I forget the name of Aaron's ritual to kind of mess with.
Forgetful Mind.
Forgetful Mind. To do those two, I mean, you can do those from any. So you guys could literally just go out back and get these done if you wanted to. If you guys want to describe.
So, as a result of that intensity and the fact I just gained a Hirano point, do I gain a range point as well by any chance?
After gaining Hirano, I don't think so. No.
Right. Okay.
Well, I mean, it's up to you. Are you angry? Were you angry?
I was very fucking angry.
Okay.
I was very angry, then sort of dialed back from it.
Give yourself a rage point. If you at least once a session, if you're telling me that, or you're role playing that you're angry, yeah, you're going to get that rage, that kind of provocation, essentially. You can't overplay it. Like, I don't want you to be saying in every scene, "I'm angry. I want another rage point." But yeah, at least once per scene.
Yeah.
Or at least once per session. Okay, so yeah, you've got an extra rage point, which makes sense because you didn't want to lose the.
So,
and we can, just to make it easy, Jake has already shifted. Although you do need to make a rage check for me, Jake. Even though your shift was amazingly role-played and I loved it, you still need to make a rage check to take different forms, which can affect your rage level. So just roll a black die, and we'll see what comes up.
Sorry, just one black die?
Yeah, just one. A rage check is just one black die. That's just to check to see if your rage goes up or stays the same or goes down.
Okay.
Mine stays the same as well.
So actually, your rage goes down, Jake. I assume you still have some.
Yeah, I have some. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
If your rage ever bottoms out, that's problematic. But if you have some, you're good.
Okay.
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. You succeeded. Your rage stays.
Succeeded.
I'm such an idiot. I'm looking right at the successful check.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Aaron succeeded.
I'm trying to control the rage, so I'm happier to down, obviously. But
yeah. That's part of managing rage. Sometimes is sometimes you want to fail a rage check, but you don't always. That's kind of what I love about the system is you can be trying to manage your rage and it just doesn't happen, and eventually you hit 5 and go frenzy, and bad things happen. Okay, so Aaron succeeded. We need Fenton and Lenexia if they're going to take part in some of the rituals to make a rage check and shift.
Yeah.
Again, you can be in any supernatural form, whichever one you feel. Glabro, Hispo would probably be best. That we want to do in Minus again.
Okay.
I think for this sort of thing, Lenexia's go-to would be Hispo, so she's still.
Which one are we doing?
Wolful.
Which one are we doing first?
It's a good question. So I'm going to give you guys I'm going to let you do both in the same scene, so you don't have to do 2 transformations or maintain it.
I failed.
So how much rage did you have?
1.
Oh, you only had 1 rage?
Yeah.
Are you sure you didn't get a little angry at that difficulty between your pack earlier?
See, that's the thing, like, the disagreements
voice of reason.
Normal. Yeah, it was just like, trying to solve.
Yeah, but you're still a creature of rage.
Yeah.
You took part in the altercation, so I'm gonna say you gained a point of rage there. So you just lost 1. You're down to 1.
Okay.
And Fenton?
Yeah.
Probably taking Glabro, I would assume.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, whichever one you feel more comfortable.
Died, so give me a second.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Need to find the charge of that. The camera's a bit weird.
Okay, so while Fenton's getting set up again, Lonnie said, which strike do you want to do first? Who's going to lead first, essentially? See you want to do both. The Forgetful Mind and the Kin Seeking.
I think Forgetful Mind probably do first.
Okay, so Fenton's fine.
Are these rituals, is there a way to, do we know that if they succeeded or not when we do them, or is it just we wait and see?
I think you get an indication from the spirits is my understanding, but GM shouts on that one.
Obviously you'll know based on die roll. But role-playing wise, I wouldn't say that it's always necessarily obvious whether or not you've been successful. Forgetful Mind might not be as obvious if you fail. Although, you might feel that things didn't quite click into place. I don't know why I search. Oh, okay, because it's not spelling something correct. Okay, so right of the Forgetful Record is what you want to do first, I would assume. Yep. Yeah. Just throw that in the journal, so see it. And then Kin Seeking. So Forgetful Record, that's Aaron's space. What's involved here? What are you doing?
Okay, so I'll get up and head into my room, and I'll return with a small brass plate, a craft knife, a old cassette tape, the old cassette tapes, magnetic cassette tapes, and 3 photos. I'll use a craft knife to break the cassette tape apart, exposing the reels inside, and I will start to cut up the photos, and I'll place it all in the brass plate. I'll leave out the casings of the cassette tape, put them on the floor at the side, and sort of look around as though we may be being watched by others, and then take out a lighter and just set fire to the items that are in the plate. As that starts to sizzle, obviously it smells pretty awful. It's plastic and whatever you. I'll just sort of waft the smoke around so it starts to not fill the room because it's only a very small fire, but just make sure it's circulating. And I'll just encourage the other 3 to sort of take a breath of that not very nice smell, and beckon them sort of to come closer. As the fire starts to die out, I'll put my big hand into the plate and just sort of rub it round in the plate, and I'll move over to each of the people in turn, and I'll just draw a single line down the left hand side of the face, whether in wolf form out, whatever, it doesn't matter. Just basically just like that, just wipe a bit of this sort of like ash onto the face, and as I'm doing so, bumbling under my breath, may the path be broken, may the smoke be thick, may the fog come in, may the night be strong, may the moon be clouded. And then I'll move back to the bits of the cassette tape, and I'll break off 4 pieces of the cassette tape, and I'll give a piece to each person, and then I'll basically put it in my mouth and chew on it and swallow it, and then beckon to the spirits. Aid us tonight. See that our tracks are not seen, see that our faces are clouded, and see that our actions are shrouded. We beseech these spirits.
Right. So everybody, and I'm assuming you need all of them to eat the piece that you've given them.
Yep.
Does everybody follow suit?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so with the ritual, only Aaron knows the rite. So everybody is going to only be able to provide 1 die of assistance. It's kind of cool in the system in that if multiple people know the rite, instead of just giving 1 die for helping, you actually use it. So that's why down the road, like similar rituals is not necessarily a bad thing. So yeah, you're gonna need to roll wisdom and investigation, and
everybody else's dice is a raised dice as well.
Is it?
Yep.
Awesome.
I've just been rereading the rules. That. Yeah, because if it goes wrong, it goes very wrong.
It goes very, very wrong. Wow. Okay.
We're gonna plant evidence. If I get enraged only to implicate myself in this murder.
Well, see, that's what's funny too, is because the difficulty of this particular rite is equal to the number of participants. So it's difficulty 4.
Yep.
But instead of just having it fail if you don't hit 4, what I'm going to have it do instead is say you get 2 of you will be protected. The other 2 won't be.
Okay.
Okay.
I choose to be one of the 2.
Well, I'm going to determine randomly, but I understand why you would want to. But yeah, go ahead and make your roll for Aaron.
Here we go.
Oh!
And your rage.
5 successes.
Wow, 5 successes.
So you're protecting one of the criminals as well.
That's awesome.
Protecting Crow.
So, yeah, you...
Crow Pro. Crow Pro is also protected.
Crow is just automatically protected.
Yeah, so everybody else still needs to roll just in case you get the rage.
No, they don't. You would have rolled their dice. Like, it's like...
No, I haven't. That's just my dice.
So you need to roll 3 additional rage then.
All right, okay, no worries.
Is it rage dice? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're fine. All golden. More successes.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so what makes that really interesting, too, is like I just said, if somebody else knows the rite, they roll 2 dice. One is green, the other one is rage dice. So that's an even better benefit for knowing a ritual and being able to assist is one of the... You don't just apply a rage die. But yeah, you guys are fine. It's amazing. So after a few minutes, where did you just perform this inside? That's fine.
Yeah, in the house, yeah. Definitely in the house, yeah, absolutely. Because the house is a part of it for me, because it's a safe house, and it's because of my gifts, not my gifts, my advantages that I've regarding the house, it's all a part of the ritual to me.
Right. So after a few moments, after completing the rite, all of you can feel your gut kind of roiling this unnatural material that you just consumed. And don't worry, Jake, you didn't destroy the cassette tape, so it's not. It's not
protecting it in my esophagus.
Right. So after a few moments, each of you, even in your supernatural form, you feel the irritation just rising up, and you feel the urge to kind of hack and cough. And as you do, this black smoke comes out of your mouth and begins to swirl around each of you, and it fills up the room to the point, and it's not like you're gagging the whole time. You're just, a couple of hacks and the smoke comes out, but it seems to expand and swirl around each of you and fill up the entire room until none of you can see anything. And then after a few more moments, smoke clears, and the ash that has marked each of your faces is gone, and the smoke completely dissipates. No indication. Even the brass plate that Aaron had used to perform the bulk of the ritual is clean. It's like the cassette tape never existed. And you feel like you were successful. So that is rite number 1, and that brings us right up to a break, I think. So
yes, that should be
take a short break, and we'll come back with our second rite and go from there.
Yeah.
So after having just had the first experience of a ritual with Aaron, Nemexia is tour, are you going to be doing this inside, or you want to take everyone outside?
Oh no, we've got to go outside for this.
That's what I think.
Nice.
So you have a small area that is not really cleared so much as tamped down in the woods that extend out behind the safe house and up the mountain. The mountain, of course, that we keep referring to, for those of you who don't know, is perhaps unsurprisingly Mount Manitou, named, or rather the town is named. But yeah, you have your space here. Is this something that you've prepared for use, or is it just a natural space?
It's natural. So essentially all I'm going to do is make a small fire in the middle and get that going. It's not going to be like it needs massive bellowing flames at first. We just need the liquid flames on the wood. So is it? Are all 3 of you in Gladro?
I'm in Glabro, yeah.
Okay. I mean,
Take is for sure. I think that is, yeah.
Yeah, I got a successful check.
So
before the break,
essentially, what's gonna happen, is Crow is actually gonna bring the herbs, and well, Lenexia in Hispo form, essentially try like you light some incense and like just like jabbing it into the ground, but yeah, the herbs go onto the fire, and because for Lenexia, Crow is a big part of this, because like the connection between wolves, well, people in the spirit world is always something that's always going to be there, so it's very much in this. So what's going to happen is once the herbs are in and it starts to smoke, Crow uses their wings to essentially billow the fire and the smoke, and it grows and grows. So what we do is we essentially encircle it, going faster and faster, and basically just containing the smoke as Crow is billowing and billowing and billowing till it gets to a point where it's actually overrunning us. And at that point, we stop encircling it, and essentially, for a lack of a better term, we spin to then essentially and turn our backs to let the smoke out and let it pass over us. All through our fur, we are enveloped with the smoke as it passes over us. And then each bit of the incense, Crow will take one and hand one each to us. And that's and the smell from that just instantly goes up our noses, through our senses, and the method of it is it's supposed to change something, or flick that switch in your brain to be able to sense the other kin.
Okay.
Awesome. So yeah, give us a wisdom investigation roll with 3 additional rage dice.
Wisdom investigation. Yeah. Wisdom. Investigations. So 4 and then 1 and then 3 rage. Ooh, okay, we're going 4 and 4. Let's go. Okay.
Okay. Wow. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, so 7 successes.
Yeah, the right masters.
Yeah, you are. Jeez. As you complete your ritual, and all of you kind of inhale the smoke incense Alexia has given you all, for lack of a better term, not uncommon for Lenexia, but maybe kind of experience for some of you all experience what you can only describe. It's not necessarily a sighted vision, it's an experience with a sensation. So first, you smell like cool mountain air. You feel as if you're at a very great height, and you can taste ashes. It's not the tape that you can taste ashes, you smell this cool, you can hear wind pushing outside, and you get the sense that this this kin is infected, for lack of a better term. You feel as if something is coiling inside you, wriggling and clawing at your insides, but giving you power at the same time. And you get a sense of this being further up the mountain, kind of in the direction that you were driving on it. But as you are kind of getting that sense, you also get a very strong sense from the outskirts of town of not a kinfolk. One of the problems with this particular rite is that if there are any guru in the area that are not taking part in the rite, they can muddy the waters somewhat. And you're definitely getting the sense that there's another on the outskirts of town. You might be able to pinpoint it if you travel around some. Essentially, what this rite does for all of you now is you have 2 additional dice in trying to find / pinpoint both the kinfolk, that is, you're getting the senses up on the mountain quite high, and this other wolf that's in town. You can, as you're getting the sense of the other wolf, taste blood, and it's fresh. You feel your joints kind of like moving and shifting as if your change is complete. The feeling of a new wolf, as it were. And you feel anger. Just a mass over you. And for Zeev, particularly, the taste of the fear is almost exactly like the same feeling that you have thinking about what you are.
Wow.
And then the smoke clears, and the incense burns out, and standing in the woods. Now, Jake, do you want to take this time to step off to the side?
Get up. Actually, I'm going to get up, like, after this is all done, shake my head, and I'm assuming everybody can understand me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I am going, can't you see this is not how we are supposed to live in the environment around us. You've never heard the expression "when in Rome," and the irony that we are performing these rituals here in Mount Manitou, not Mount Wolfatu. That irony seems lost upon everybody here. I will not let you forget your humanity. I will not let you forget how good it is to be a regular, normal person, contributing to society, living in life that is helpful to other people and not destructive. This asks of us more than what is normal for anybody to have to pay, and nothing good can come out of continuing to justify these changes in the name of something higher than yourselves. I will not let you forget your humanity. And that is how I perform the rite, so that their clothes will always come back to them when they return from Wolf.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah.
Very cool.
All right. Tying everyone to their on some level to their humanity. I like that.
Yeah, even if it was done already previously in the past.
You can rededicate.
Reinforcing it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right.
I think with that though, like, it's gonna rile Lenexia up. The whole, it's your humanity. Because for Lenexia, this wasn't a choice. Like,
and he's also kind of ignored what you are, who you are.
Well, that's it. It's one of them that's like, it's not something that's initially shared, because it is weird. Especially for Zev, he doesn't even accept that he's part wolf, part supernatural wolf. Never mind, I was originally a wolf.
Not accept it? Look how hairy I am!
So I think, and that is like, it's just a growl, and it's just like, humanity is not the be all and end all. Like, these woods are for the wolves. You are part of the wolves. We are all part of the wolves now. Just, we are different. And some of us didn't get a choice in being human. It's not a choice that people will always want. So humanity is not so. It's something you have to remember, but it's something that you can easily forget. And just walk away at that.
I'll look towards Lenexia and look back towards Zev, and I just say, Gaia has gifted us as the best of both worlds, man and wolf. And the sooner you learn that, Zev, the sooner you will run alongside this pack. I'll just head back towards the house.
I'm letting you have the mic drop on that.
Is Fenton also returning to the house?
Yeah, Fenton will just look Zev dead in the eyes and then just rest his head to the ground and walk off.
You were my hutch, man. You were my hutch.
You're the wheels to my leg, man.
As Zev is left alone in the woods, you feel a weight come down on your shoulder. And you hear a sibilant voice in your ear.
Sorry about the cars.
Worry not, my child. You understand how important humanity is and how important technology is. You have pleased me this day. Do not give in to you. Use it as a tool. But always remember how important our needs are. And then the pressure that you felt on your shoulder just kind of doesn't lift so much as dissipate.
I'm going to probably do something primal. And howl. This long howl, exhaling breath, until I am almost just seeing stars from the lack of oxygen coming in. The next thing I see is I'm in the car one more time. I hear another voice. It's a woman's voice. She screams, "Jed, I told you not to get out of the car. Just come, let's get out of here. Gotta get out of here quickly." I see she's smoking a cigarette. It has an odd smell to it. She's comes out of the car. Both are clearly on drugs or alcohol or both. The next thing I know, I'm howling over 2 dead bodies in the middle of the road, like an animal that's lost all control. And as I come back to my senses, in the back seat, I hear a baby crying. I go to look at this child, not even in a car seat, just crying in a basket. And I see a small child, maybe 4 or 5 years old, also looking up at just fearful at what he saw, the scene of carnage outside. And the baby just keeps crying and crying and crying. And there's something wrong with the baby. It's not a normal child. It possibly just birthed from a mother that was drinking too much during pregnancy. And I wake up on the cold, wet floor of Mount Manitou, back in human form.
Nice. So, wow, that's the end of that scene. So everybody, unless you want to maintain your supernatural, you shift back to.
Okay.
So yeah, we have Ze'ev waking from his memory in the forest, just having had a loving caress from his, which those of you who are watching, if you're not familiar, it's a little thing known as Spider. It's not necessarily. She's also not evil, but she knows.
I'm not a drow.
Yeah, no, you're not. But it's interesting that Spider is kind of is more an avatar of the Weaver than the Wild, which is normally what Guru tend to connect with, but, that's not a bad thing necessarily. Ze'ev is more humanity, technology. Don't worry, Foxy, you won't see it. No pictures of spiders. It's a benevolent spirit. So yeah, the rest of you are in the house. What's going on now? You have some information. You still have some things to investigate if you choose to. And you feel fairly certain at this point that at least up to this point, anything that you have done at a scene that is potentially being investigated by the police is not going to lead back to you.
Aaron's going to head to his room, close the door behind him, and just sit on the bed, get his phone out, open a text message to his sister, and just put, "Hi Ryder, how's it going? How's things where you are? Hope you're having a good day." And just click send, and then just drop the phone on the bed and just put his head in his hands as he's feeling like a bit of a come down from all the sort of the rage and the angst that's just taken part over the last hour or two.
Flicks on a CD, Celine Dion All By Myself starts playing. Usual stuff,
Well, thank God it's not Rage Against the Machine. I would hate that.
That's a fan of Celine Dion.
That's our new favourite song.
That's funny. Rage Against the Machine. I didn't even think about that. Cool. How about Lenexia?
I think Lenexia would have, after leaving the ritual site, she would have just gone straight to her little corner, but shifted back into human, and just sat there with Crow, thanking them, petting them, like just having an absent-minded chitter between them, just settling down in her own mind and asking what they want next time. Is it, do they want something new, shiny? Do they want like this bucket? Well, not this bucket, like this little tray that she has of random bits, like just flicking through it with Crow, and probably do that for a good few hours, until I think everyone's left or like gone up to the rooms or whatever. Because I know it's still during the day, but I think everyone is just chilling out. So she'll
rained.
Yeah, at some point she'll turn into Lupus form and essentially just go and sit outside in the woods. If anybody actually looked, she's literally just sat in the woods, just watching, listening, and just being a part of it, until she hears if they get up and start talking about what's to come next, and everything is just making her feel a little bit better and more at home, as it were. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else?
I don't think there's nothing specific.
What are your next steps then? So everybody chills for a while, probably into late afternoon, maybe.
Probably till
definitely sort of early evening. Just sort of like waiting to see how other people react for a few hours, basically. And then if it starts getting towards tea time, I will start preparing some dinner for everybody.
Yeah.
Preparing dinner in the house.
That sounds good. I think at dinner we'll have some tea too. I'm probably going to have been in my room contemplating, but I'm trying to think of what the meaning could be when we sensed a spirit more north of where, the car accident was, I guess. Is that where we were kind of sensing that?
Wasn't a spirit, it was a kinfolk, weren't it?
Or kinfolk, yes, sorry.
Yeah, it was definitely a kinfolk, but intertwined with a spirit.
I think it goes back to the original.
Yeah.
We had the original when we went to the clearing the first ever time. There was the tracks going up the hill into the mountains, as well as the tracks leaving to the compound, and it was always something we were kind of always going to go back to look at. So it feels like that's still a thing. Actually,
I'll revise the if I gave the impression that the tracks that didn't go back to the compound went up into the mountains, that's wrong. They just went off into the wilderness.
Okay, fair enough.
If anything, they were heading back towards town.
All right, no worries. Yeah, so I think if everybody's kind of chilling till tea time, I think it'll be a good opportunity to get people back to a discussion over eating food. So I'll sort of like quietly sort of dish things up, and I think it's obvious to everyone that Aaron's turning things over in his mind while he's sort of like cooking and preparing things like that, being really quiet, like dish everything up and just sit down and just sort of stare at people sort of randomly, while you can see he's definitely churning things over in his head, trying to figure out the next move.
This is the best rabbit stew I ever ate, and I resent you for making it at the same time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I was going to ask what you were eating. That makes sense.
So, who do you think these kin in the mountains is connected to the CEO? Which
Ricardo.
Yeah.
I don't. That's up to you what you imagine, but I will remind you that at least I believe Fenton and Zeev mentioned last session the possibility of trying to contact with Sept Denver to see if they had further information. I mean, Zev has a mentor that's a member of the Sept, and Fenton spent possibly more time with the Sept than the rest of you, so although not specifically having a mentor, definitely knows some of the Assembly Scar, which the Scar leader essentially a world leader. So yeah, I mean, you could contact thoughts. You did also, I will rewind, well, maybe not rewind, maybe you just had a chance to hear. Fenton does recall that just before things went dark, you did glimpse into the Umbra, and you saw that the spirits there were wailing. They seem to be at the center of the storm. There's a spirit kind of hovering over the entire clearing, massive, almost serpentine creature that was being struck repeatedly by lightning in the center of the clearing. And what you would normally think of as kind of like background spirits, like tree spirits, they were all present, but they were kind of, you got the sense that they were being repulsed by the clearing. So that information might help you or guide you in a particular way. But again, you'd have to go back to the site, engage with
Is that description of that spirit, the large spirit being the serpent being struck by lightning, is that it seems like it's probably quite a powerful entity and might be something that we maybe recognise from lore, from the description. Would it be possible to sort of see if it's something we've encountered or something our Sept has told us about or something like that?
You can definitely roll. You guys have, knowing the two of you, in the safe house, you guys have some internet access, so you could.
Well, Fenton's the one that's seen it, so he's definitely the best place to. Yeah, he's definitely the best place to do that, unless he's very, very descriptive. But he's the one that's seen it, so sure. Maybe that's something for you, Ian.
But yeah, anybody with occult, anybody with investigation, if you want to make rolls to try and see if maybe there's some importance or some significance. Again, contacting somebody in the Sept might be useful. But yeah, I'm you gotta look before you can find. So
yeah.
So it would be intelligence and investigation.
Intelligence investigation could do like a cursory search online. If you have knowledge of the occult, that might be more effective. Considering you're dealing with the Umbra.
Is it then wisdom occult, or is it intelligence and occult?
If you are actively doing research, it would be intelligence. If you're just trying to remember information, it would be like wits occult.
Okay. That's what I'll roll.
So are you describing this to us all, Ian?
Yeah, I think dinner would be a perfect time for me to remember what I'd seen and to be discussing that with everybody. I had thought in the last session about whether or not it would be time to contact the Sept or someone at the Sept in order to sort of try and fathom what was going on at the point that we were trying to, we had all the spiral symbols and the bodies buried in such a pattern. I would say especially now, having been abducted and saved, now would definitely be the time to make sure that you guys know everything that I know in as best a description as possible. And yeah, I think if I were going to research, I think I'd probably do intelligence occult, because I've got 2 in occult.
Rather than me doing it separately, and I'll just help you. So just get an extra dice from me because I've got a cult.
Okay, so that'd be 7 dice.
Yeah.
And then 2 of those would be rage. Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm in a very cooperative mood. I'm going to be doing my own thinking and research after everybody here.
So while we're sort of doing this research, I'm going to sort of bring up that it's absolutely critical in my mind that we figure out who this other guru is in town, because he is not known to us, obviously, or she. They're not known to us. They could be a part of the problem. They may be helpful, but either way, another guru is very significant in any case, and they're here. They may be just passing through or whatever, but it can't. I don't believe in coincidences. It might be someone different. We're not entirely sure, but it could be. I forget the name again. Because one of the bodies wasn't there. There was torn clothes and wolf prints that went away. So we could assume it's them. So they survived, obviously, the traumatic event because they were able to turn.
So you know of the. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just and for all we know, that reaction could be why, if they're working together, it could be why they tried taking Fenton.
So, from what you know of the ritual site, the 2 people that left clearing, you saw one on video, and it was, I mean, although the video was kind of grainy, the laptop was destroyed. Where did that scene? You were fairly certain that was Ricard Mullen. That was his car. The person in the video was wearing a suit, which is how it's always kind of described, and how he appears in kind of on the fringes of the social media posts of Mitchell. So you're fairly certain that was Ricard Muller. The only other person in the Horticultural Club who wasn't there, whose body wasn't there, essentially, was Hannah Harkle.
I think a piece of clothing that was found there was similar to what one of the hoodies we'd seen in a picture, I think, or something.
There was a shredded hoodie and a pair of jeans and some methods.
Yeah, so
shredded in such a way to indicate that someone had changed.
Yeah. So it's one of them. It's like it's a safe assumption, but we don't know what organ was taken out of her that she could have possibly. I mean, actually, no. Is that something we know?
No, she's not one. If she, whatever the rags were, that person wasn't harmed. That's the other person that's left this area, isn't it? Or thing that's left the area. It's starting to sound to me like they have done this ritual to bring somebody's Garou form out in a really fucked up way. That's what it's starting to sound like to me.
Like they're trying to force it out.
And probably have succeeded by the looks of it.
And that's not
together.
So Fenton, definitely having spent more time with the Sept, would know, and maybe Lenexia, depending upon who kind of taught you. I don't know that Zeev would know this because he probably kind of avoids a lot of information about being a wolf, but I think most of you would know from your discussions with the Sept that is sometimes done. Like sometimes, there's a reason why there are myths about people being attacked by werewolves and then becoming werewolves. It's because werewolves who know that someone is a kinfolk will actively attack that kinfolk as a werewolf, trying to basically create a traumatic event for them that then causes them to shift. Now, you've never heard of an attempt at a change like this, but forced changes are things that people have tried.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe this is some weird like black spiral. Doctrine.
Yeah.
Well, certainly nobody's ever accused me of being a self-hating guru before.
Anyway, back to Ian and his very successful roll.
Yeah, so the 3 successes on the occult roll with regard to the spirit. I would say that I mean your knowledge of things, Guru, and your knowledge of things, Guru, and the spiritual are still growing, but you feel like this probably has something to do with the space more than the spirit. There are locations, and in fact, the Sept in Denver holds one of these locations known as cairns that are places of significance. They are confluences of spiritual energy and power and importance that people with the right knowledge and the right access, specifically Guru, sometimes other things, are able to identify and use as a source of power, as a source of stability. And so it's possible that site, however despoiled it might now be because of the dark ritual that was performed there, might have been one of these locations. The spirit that you saw might, sometimes it's referred to as a locational spirit that is tied to the place. But if that spirit you saw was tied to the space, you have the feeling that it's in pain. It's not in a good state.
Okay. Is that stuff that I'd be able to explain and share with it, like
sure.
Would they understand it? Yeah.
I think everybody would understand it to a point. I mean, it's a bit of deeper Guru lore, but you've all been to the Sept in Denver, all felt the empowerment of the cairn when you were first inducted into the Sept. The bringing you together as a pack to send you definitely have felt it. How you've explained it to yourself is one. And you may not have entered the Umbra and seen the spirit of the place, but you definitely felt it. So it could be a cairn. It could be a place of power. And it would make sense if it was, because that's the kind of place where you do rituals, usually. I mean, you all don't have a cairn here. You can do a ritual really anywhere. That's much more effective than a cairn.
We haven't got a cairn in the world.
Yeah, I'll just strangle you to death.
Seems reasonable.
Sure, take me out of your misery.
Yeah. And with the big serpentine type thing that we saw in the sky, or that I saw in the sky.
Yeah.
Does that have any sort of relation to the horned serpent that's my ancestral thing, or
it's I mean, it's probably not an avatar of the horned serpent, but it, from what you saw, it could likely be related in the same order. So if that affects your, willingness or drive to see it fairly treated, I would understand that. But yeah, it definitely is something that would seem familiar to you. But you know that it's not an avatar.
Right.
You've had a few interactions with Horned Serpent. You didn't get that sense.
Right. Okay.
Also, interesting thing to point out, in case you're all ever interested in doing it, each of you has a patron spirit, right? That is a part of the tribe that you've become a part of. You guys can, at some point, if you choose, also seek out the patronage of a pack spirit and gain dual benefits for having two patrons, essentially.
Okay.
Might be early in your pack, but you know that it's something that is done. And it's generally that's done on a much more personal level. When you become a part of a tribe, you just kind of are accepted by the tribal spirit, and you might have a brief interaction with it as you're introduced to it. But it's not a day-to-day interaction. Like the interaction that Jake just had is probably the first one he's had in some time since initially becoming a member of the tribe. Most of you have probably not had interactions with your patron spirit recently, but if you take on a pack spirit, pack patron, it that becomes a lot more engaging. They have more expectations that we do.
Okay.
Kind of along the lines of Crow, but even more so.
Fair enough.
That'd be pretty cool.
Speaking of which, Crow does talk to you while you're eating and kind of look at you like, Chinese?
We'll get you some. I told you we need to find some. We haven't been out anywhere.
Lord, Chinese.
It's like throw a bone or something.
Check the mousetraps.
He looks at the bone that you just threw at him and looks at you and just cocks his head. Soon.
Yeah, soon. Play fetch.
I'll get up and I'll go into the back room, and you can just hear a bit of rummaging about in the back room, and I'll sort of like get one of the old camera lenses that's damaged and just like unscrew it and take the lens out of it and come back out and just put that down in front of Crow.
So he looks at it and looks up at you as like, already been through your stuff.
And here I was trying to be nice.
Yeah, Crow knows what can get like. Yeah, but yeah,
Crow knows everything.
We'll find you something.
Okay. Flies up to like the top of the fridge and just kind of sulks. Longy lost all the lights.
Peculiar stepdaughter just walked in to turn the light off. Oh, didn't realise you were there. Like massive computer setup glowing out of the world.
All right, so
three things like that lights up the place.
So, you have a nice dinner, and you have some discussion about some more information. To remind you of a few poignant facts, I will remind you of the text message that Jake received from Birgit Van Gelder saying that she will likely be returning tomorrow. I'll also remind you that she had informed you that Picard Muller had requested to come see her. And of course, we all remember this bit of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, she was on the list, wasn't she?
So you have a list with 2 names that are crossed out. Birgit Van Gelder is next. And Hannah Harcourt's on there.
Did you just give away that this list is actually in order?
Just saying. She's next on the list. I don't know what to tell you.
He's definitely next on the list.
When we were looking through all his things, was there any other mention of them first 2 names?
In terms of like the ritual? No.
No, I know the laptop got destroyed, but in the notes and stuff that Zev and Fenton.
No, in fact, those names are the first time, like that list is the first and only time that you've seen those names.
Okay.
Would you like to look into those names for it?
Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to look at. Cause especially now that, because we think that Hannah is the one that changed, but she's on the list. So I don't know. It's one of them. We don't know if it was what Erin said, whether it was intentional to do that for her or whether it was for someone else.
Well, another thing that you all realized a few sessions ago is, with the exception of Birgit Van Gelder and Hannah Harcourt, who was added later, obviously, none of the rest of the names on the list have any connection to the horticultural.
And did we investigate this Endron? Not to belabor the point.
I mean, I wouldn't say that you've investigated them. You know that they hold the essentially they own all the property of the Fremont Experimental Forest that the copse is in. That's public record that they own that land. Well, definitely, I don't know that I really described it much at the time, which may be my own, failing.
No,
but
why would you
Aaron,
unless we asked?
Well, yeah, but Aaron would have noticed when you were in the security station that both the employees and some of the files in the security room and other things would have had Endron patches and things on, so it's clearly maintained. And yeah, I know that that Lenexia was a little concerned about the security station, considering the fact that there's an elevator that seems to be down. Which is some interest in that, but followed that path, as it were.
Yeah, we have a lot of leads.
Yeah, I mean,
Which may or may not be connected to each other.
Yeah.
And can we really resist going down into a dungeon? I mean, really. Yeah.
The other thing to keep in mind, though, is that
elevator downstairs in front of us, will you?
Well, well, to be fair, there is an upper floor to that station as well, so it could go up. It's not like Aaron checked it.
Okay.
We're busy.
He was busy. He was busy.
And in a different form.
That's true. True. But to be fair, it is important to note that Jake still has not had a conversation with Jessica about her son.
Did I leave a message?
Oh, you did leave a message. That's Right. The police had recently arrived, and you've not yet heard from her.
I would expect her to have called me back, especially based on the message of, yeah, I found the keys. I took your son's car. We were just,
But she hasn't actually called,
right?
Which may or may not be interesting to you. And again, your, connection to the people on the list is tenuous at best. I mean, you've spoken to Margaret Van Gelder. You think that Hannah Hark is possibly Wolf now, based on what you found at the ritual sites?
Yeah. That's what where I got to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my view is we should try and find this Garrow in town, because wherever they're there and we don't know what they're up to, it's a problem. Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm open to suggestions on what the next move is. That's my suggestion.
Well, it's one of I think Lenexia's suggestion would be the same. Find the Guru, but also find the kin. Because the kin is more likely possessed by spirits. But also, she is going to look up on local news stories the two names that are crossed out, and look a little bit on social media or anything for the rest of the names while after we finish dinner and everything.
Okay.
So that kin that's on the mountain could well be the man that
got away.
Zev let get away. Just reminding you of that fact that you let him get away.
Hang on. He went through a freaking windshield and landed on the floor, and there were other things to investigate at the time as well.
Yeah.
Like the moaning passenger in the passenger seat.
Tonight we're playing Werewolf. Keep Zev riled up. That's what we're playing. But yes, it's certainly possible. I mean, nobody got a good look at the man. In terms, when I say look, I mean nobody used any gifts to look at him. But the assumption that he is similar to the woman is likely.
Yeah.
It's not an out there idea, is it?
No. So, Lenexia, as you look at social media and just kind of do a surface internet look around at the two names that are first on the list.
But not now while you're playing this game, of course.
No, she's doing it right now while you're eating dinner. She finds that you find that both of these individuals are actually deceased. Recently, in fact, Madeline Wilson was discovered in her home. The story is pretty sad, actually. She is married and has 4 children. Her husband and her children visiting family members while she had some business interactions. And apparently someone who had access to the locations where she was engaging in meetings, kind of there are places where essentially rent space. And they don't maintain a building themselves, but they run their business, usually small businesses like Etsy businesses and things like that. They'll often run their businesses out of this office space. And so she was having a series of meetings in a company's meeting. And unfortunately, she was found the next day in one of the office spaces. She was laid out in the middle of a room that had been mostly everything that they died, so and there was according to the story, Tunes across, there seems to have been some kind of ritualistic aspect to the murder, and it is clearly deemed as a murder. No pictures available, obviously. No pictures available, obviously, but there's no question that the police describing this as.
You're breaking up quite a lot.
Yeah, I just tried to turn my volume back up. Hopefully, it's better now. Hopefully.
We got most of it, but it was like a crescendo of up and down sort of as you were talking.
Yeah, again, I don't know what's going on with my volume. I'll monitor it here, but so yes, this woman was apparently murdered in like a shared office space. And that was, where are you guys at the timeline? That was 5 days ago. And then about 3 days ago, Anand Parash was found in their home. They were in their vehicle, oddly enough, in their garage. All reports would have initially assumed a suicide, as the vehicle had been running when they were found. But for the fact that they had been duct taped to their seat, their head had been duct taped to the headrest, their hands duct taped to the wheel, and their feet duct taped to the floor, not to the pedals. And so they were basically held in place, and it was described as not a great way to go, as the person essentially suffocated monoxide. So that's what you can find on those first two names. Unless there's anything else specifically you're looking.
Not at the minute. It was literally just a quick once over for the names. Obviously, because they were crossed out, it was. Now
and all that was on Facebook.
No,
I will be sharing.
Found links to stories and things, yeah. Right?
As I read
it is also
telling the others.
Okay. It is also important to note that neither of those two lived in Manitou Springs, nor did the murders occur in Manitou Springs.
Okay.
However, both murders took place in towns, by a quick look and assumption, probably within 3 hours.
Okay.
But for those not familiar with American driving, a day trip.
A commute.
Yeah, a commute, as it were. A commute to murder.
Mm-hmm.
That's correct.
Okay.
Assuming that the murder is coming from Manitou Springs. I don't know if you guys have made that assumption about the person whose house you found this in, but, I'm assuming you have made that assumption.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure if he was living there or just, using that place as a cockroach farm.
Oh, that's a fair point, actually. That's a fair point. So, next on the list, obviously, Hannah Birgit Van Gelder. If you do a quick look at the other names, all of these individuals appear to be active. And in fact, in some cases, significantly far away. There are a few, let's see. So Marjorie Hardy is in LA. You assume, there may be probably more than one Marjorie Hardy, but you do have phone numbers here. Let's see, Doria Lasser is actually in Italy right now, apparently, according to her social media. So, these people are all over the place. All of them do, however, as you continue to look at the names, including Birgit Van Gelder, you do see here and there that they're all successful business people on some level or another. Birgit, of course, is retired, but all of them have worked in various fields. You've got Birgit was actually a commodities trader. Before she retired and focused on her gardening. And then a lot of the others are various things, money type deals. Anja is a politician. Maine. So there's a lot of professional positions.
Yeah, because on that...
And it might also be important to note that they are all...
They're all what, sorry?
women.
Okay. Huh.
Good point.
So, I can't remember what we found out about the others, because I think the profession, it played a part in it, because Mitchell was a lawyer, and no, wait, was Mitchell the one we were... I get the names confused.
Joy is a lawyer. Mitchell is an artist.
Yeah. So is that way around? So, but a successful artist.
Yeah, successful enough. Maybe not a big name, but does well, has shows. Before you take that thought further, though, I think we are right at a point of another break, unless we want to just play through and finish this out for today, because we are getting kind of close to some time regardless.
I think we've missed it anyway, unless anyone actually wants to.
I think we have, yeah. I don't know why my timer was so...
unless anyone wants to take a break.
Yeah, let's go ahead and finish up with some thoughts here, and then maybe share out some experience and come up with...
If we take the first letter of every first name on this list...
Okay. Have you done this yet?
Spell the sentence. Bad mist. Ah.
Okay.
Sounds like a cleaning product.
BADMIST.
I just see Mabs tamed.
A-H.
Mabs tamed. Who's Mabs and why is she being tamed?
Mabs tamed.
Huh. Okay.
Have to watch out for the mist.
I mean, yeah.
Stephen King was right.
Would you, to finish out this session, tell you what, since the Nexia is doing the one doing do you want to dig deeper and try to find out a little bit more, see if you can find a connection that you're probably already assuming?
Well,
tell you what, I'll just tell you. I'll just let you.
I was going to say, I would like get Erin involved, because it's a lot more in depth because I'm just literally Googling and trying to actually find connections, because Erin helped me last time, so get him involved. It's like, right, now that we've figured out the two of them are dead, they've added that a name's been added, let's see what the connection is. Figured out they're all women and such, and then
so with Aaron's help and possibly even Zaev's, because he does some work in that area, maybe you kind of point to him like, this is weird, these are all ladies, they're all professionals, what is the connection? So maybe you guys all kind of hunker down and start looking at various things that you all specialize in. And I think we'll finish out this particular session revelation that all of these women in some way have beat out a certain Ricard Muller, either in a position, posting, in one case, it was a political seat that he ran for. So all of these women have overcome Ricard Muller in some way.
Wronged him or whatever, yeah.
Well, I mean, they just won over him.
Yeah, okay.
He maybe sees that as being wrong.
I thought he took over Birgit.
He did. But if you go back further, you find that Birgit actually negotiated him on a futures contract several years before he took over the horticultural club, and actually cost him, according to the story on the exchange and the contract, a particularly very lucrative contract, which would make sense to Fenton and Zev, having seen Birgit's kind of retirement. It was quite nice.
Okay. So this is a revenge list.
He who kills last laughs the loudest.
So...
Did you just make that up? It feels like you just made that up.
No, I've heard that before.
It wasn't one of my better ones.
No, I feel like I've heard that before. Am I making that up? Did I not hear that before?
Are
you gaslighting me?
I frequently give people the feeling of deja vu.
Okay. Now, if you were really doing good, you would have just waited a second and then again said, I frequently give people deja vu. You gotta stay on top of it, Jake. So yeah, I think that is a fair assumption.
And so this just goes to demonstrate that this person is using perhaps personal powers for revenge.
Yeah. And it seems...
Let that be a cautionary tale for everybody here.
So I think Zev is going to have a revelation at this point. And whether or not he wants to discuss this with anyone else is completely up to you. But if you do, I think we're going to wait until starting next session with that discussion. So you say that he's using personal powers to seek revenge. But the moment you say it, you realize, no, he's seeking power to enact revenge. Because you guys did the kin-seeking ritual. You got no sense that would make sense to you anyway of Ricard Muller being any kind of...
Well, but still, there was the fight with the four-legged dog.
I think he's the guru. Is my thoughts. That's where I am with it.
Okay. But I think that's where we'll call it for.
Yeah. Like, oh my god. There's so much fucking going on.
At this point, it's probably early evening on the second day of our investigation.
Wow, only 2 days? That's crazy.
And
that's crazy.
You'll have to think about where you want to go and what you want to do next week. If you know now, let me know and prep some stuff in terms of like scenes, things like that. If not, shoot me some messages, or I'll just try to intuit everything that you're doing.
Yeah, I think you should intuit it and then tell us what.
I'm not awful at
it. I think the guru and the two main leads that we've got from the ritual for me is like the freshest tracks, to pardon the pun.
Those I'm already prepared for. So,
because the thing is, either it's them or we visit Birgit to try for a chance of trying to get Ricardo.
Well, we know that she's still out of town and will be out of town for a few days.
At least until tomorrow, maybe longer.
But it might not be a bad idea to go to her place to see if anybody is watching it or there, if she's the next on the list. Like, what is Ricard doing to detect her, to know when she's coming back, to, maybe there is something in the house, maybe there's a trap or...
And they're still checking out the glade. Lily from the Umbra.
Yeah.
We could always talk to the police and see what leads they have.
Good.
Hey, they'll forget it was us. We'll be obscured. I'm Special Agent Mist from the FBI.
First name bad. All right,
I'm
so
Detective Starsky. This is my...
I don't know, man. I feel like Starsky and Hutch might be broke up after this session today. Beza, you're muted.
It was it was almost like they only got a pilot episode and then they never went to make the series.
Right.
Yeah, might resolve it. Who knows?
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so leaving it at that, let's go ahead and pass out experience for today. So everybody gets one for participation. Wait, I think this is going to be a fun question. Did anybody perform something remarkable during the session? The whole table's appreciation of the character doing or saying a certain thing.
I can't think of anything that I did.
You can't think of anything?
No. No.
So I think I'm going to give everybody a point there for the, I'm just going to call it the altercation, which I loved. The interactions there were fantastic. Obviously, I mean, I can't give you, I could, but I'm not going to because I don't want more than 1 point. But, you know, Jake's flashbacks, fantastic. Ritual descriptions, amazing. Just great all around. So I think everybody gets a point for that. So everybody's at 2. Use a skill, gift, or other trait in a clever or critical way. Well, I think definitely Aaron and Lenexia with the rights definitely pulling up both some protection and some information. So I think that's those right usages.
I think the way that just the way that Jake, it says in a clever way, the way that Jake executed his the clothing ritual was very clever. I didn't see that coming. I didn't see that coming. It was just like it just kind of rolled over us, and it was like, what?
Okay. Yeah, I'll give Jake a pointer for that. Sure. And then we'll just run down the list with Beza. Is there anything important your character learned this session?
The fact they can be brought back round after being abducted and groggy and poisoned by a slap was was interesting, to say the least.
You were out for a while.
Yeah, valid. I also think the seeing what caused Zev to change was quite big, quite eye-opening.
Throw some glass at him, knock him down.
Yeah.
That's the
You
exact.
You have to cut me.
that's the exact ritual. Okay. Jake, did Zev learn anything in this session?
How horrible my pack is to me. How little they understand me. And I think, yes, everybody learned now what triggers me. I mean, if they didn't know before because it wasn't forced upon me. I think that is something probably that is, because they just take it so easy. Oh, I'm just going to turn. Okay, I'm just going to be this. Now I'm a human. Now I'm a wolf. Now I'm a bigger wolf. Now I'm a smaller wolf. Now I'm a, doggy wolf. Like they just, like, it just glides off them. So
I think that's a fantastic place for your character to be in mentally. And I think developing to the point where he feels more comfortable with the pack is hopefully is going to be a fantastic change as well at some point.
It's like you're like people that like body horror movies disgust you sort of thing. It's it's like you detest what you are, and what we do in front of you makes you feel worse about it. That's the feeling I was getting.
Yeah,
well, it's like you're extending the whole first change feeling.
Yeah,
that is often done as a prelude, but into like, I like it. It's great. Sorry, you were saying?
Yeah, no, I think it's going to take me to see like a tangible good result.
Sure.
To actually change my mind or change myself.
Well,
I haven't seen that, and I don't know if it will or not. I don't. It depends on, what your definition of good is, and justice does not necessarily mean good.
That's true. And I think it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, I don't want to say more. That's true.
Yeah.
That's great. How about you, Longy? Is there anything that Aaron learned that is in this session?
I think seeing the darker side to Fenton, but I'm just going to say it's not worth an XP point. No big revelation for me apart from just seeing that. Obviously, the thing for Jake, but I don't want to take away from Jake
Sure.
For me, I'd rather Jake have an extra point and me not have anything really.
Respect the honesty. Yeah.
I don't think it's one at the cost of the other. I mean,
no. What I was saying is I've learned little bits, but your big revelation, that's not mine. That's yours. So
yeah, he doesn't want to run the two goats. I get that. That is very relevant. Very, very good mindset to have. I respect that thought. Lenexia. Did she learn anything?
I think the main thing that Lenexia is learning from spending more time with him is, like, at first for this assignment she was happy and pleased that she was basically getting a pack, but it's a lot different. It's a lot more hard work than expected. Because obviously everyone's different, but because now she's realizing, because for lack of a better sense, because they're human, they see it different, whereas the way she's brought up and still tried to maintain is like how it is in a pack, like in a wolf pack. There's certain ways of doing things. You can have essentially your own opinion, but if there's, at the end of the day, there's somebody that says, no, you just do this, kind of thing.
Humanity complicates things.
It's something that's been playing on my mind as well. The fact that there's 3 of us that are human, and Lex is the only one that is a wolf. It's like she's a minority, and there's several times when we've done things where we've just taken for granted that our base form is human, and we would know how to deal with this, and we've basically not given her much thought at certain points.
Well, and to be fair, as she said, she hasn't shared that yet with all of you. So maybe some of you are starting to realize, like, oh, she spends a lot of time in lupus form.
Yeah.
Oh, she took Hispo form for the ritual instead of Glabro, like the rest of us. Like, maybe that might be starting to lead your thoughts in a certain direction. But also, and it's certainly not. I want to be clear. So, in previous editions, for anybody who's watching as well, there was. I didn't particularly like this, but I guess I understand it on a certain level. There was a bit of a stigma having been both and becoming a guru. I think largely because people didn't want to approach that play style and think about what it would be like. There's none of that stigma now. Like in the current edition, nobody cares if you're wolf or human. You're a guru. You're both. And while some people might not be comfortable with that, the rest, which is fine. I love it. I absolutely love that story aspect. But nobody else cares. Now, that doesn't mean everybody is automatically open about it either, right? Because maybe that's something that's very personal and private to Lenexia, and I imagine it is, because that was a large part of her previous life. It's hard to go back to that now. It's even harder in some ways to maintain linkages with your old pack than it is for them to maintain linkages with just people, because it's the relationship is right. People can, well, to be fair, like people can kind of shrug off some weirdness about you if you're a werewolf. Your pack knows that you're different. and that might change how they react to you, and it's not something. Yeah, awesome. So you get a point for that. So, well,
does she also get another point for learning that Crowpro likes sushi?
Did we learn that Crowpro likes sushi? When did that happen? Did I miss that?
Oh no! You know what? Then it's me, and it's pretty funny because certain points when you're talking to the mic, I thought Crowpro said sushi when she threw the bone.
No.
She didn't say sushi.
I think I said shiny.
Yeah,
that's funny. Shiny.
I'm sorry. I thought maybe she said Chinese, like Chinese.
No,
food
it is.
tonight.
It is
that's what I was
one.
thinking. Sorry.
It is 100% now canon that Zev never understands what Crow is saying.
Exactly.
Always mistakes what Crow is saying.
Exactly.
That's great. That's amazing.
I love the idea of Zev. It's like, oh, sushi.
I'm gonna buy Chinese food for Crowpro next time.
I love it. Yeah. Okay, well, that's it for today.